I don't trust anybody. I don't trust you. I mean, that's only because I know you. But if I didn't know you, I'd probably have more trust. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big, powerful power plant, they can't do a thing about it. It's like, take me. That's all they can do. And yet, if you read the New York Times or if you watch ABC fake news or NBC fake news, you'd say it's a close battle. It's not a close battle. They're totally defeated. You know, we killed their Navy in, would you say 3 days, Pete? Gone. In fact, I was a little upset with Pete. I said, why didn't you save the ships? We could have used them, right? He said it's more fun shooting them down.
President Trump takes questions from reporters in the White House, and he has no tolerance for non-patriotic and anti-American reporters. As you're going to see from this video, he does a phenomenal job of navigating this. All I ask in return is for you guys to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it.
Would you be comfortable with a deal that involves separating ICE funding from the DHS funding package in order to reopen?
Well, they're working on all of that. You know, that's a detail that they'll explain later. Please.
Election integrity and DHS measures. Mr. President, since CISA falls under DHS, and given that many credible voices have raised concerns over its premature and possibly likely faulty 2020 election assessment, will you and Secretary Mullen implement reforms at CISA and at DHS to ensure full confidence in future elections, like in the upcoming?
We'll talk about it, you know, pros and cons. Look, they used it to try and put me in prison, right? So I can't be thrilled with it. They used that very strongly, very illegally. The Democrats are thugs, and I don't want to say that. It would be nice to everyone get along, but it's a different country than it was years ago.
Yeah.
It was very dangerous.
For crying out loud, President Trump is known for being he was kind of a Democrat or Democratic leaning most of his life until he ran in politics. The party had already gone so far to the left and gone even further to the left. He's a classic liberal. Same with Elon Musk. I mean, most people that are left-leaning are not today's standard of left-leaning. It's like a cult right now to be so far radical, to just be so anti-American, anti-patriotic. It's bizarre. It's bizarre what the hell's going on with the Democrats.
Dangerous the way they used it, and they weaponized government. They used that to weaponize government. So I'm not thrilled, but I'll also go along with two groups of people, the military, and I think the military likes it, right? And I'll go along with the senators. I'm fine. But I was a big victim of it. Yeah, please.
Are you going to send Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff to do direct negotiations with the Iranians?
Yeah, well, we're in negotiations, as it turned out, and now you've seen what I said yesterday was exactly correct. We're in negotiations right now. They're doing it along with Marco, JD. We have a number of people doing it, and the other side, I can tell you, they'd like to make a deal. And who wouldn't if you were there? Look, their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone. Their communications are gone. That's the biggest problem. It's very hard to communicate them between themselves. All of the anti-aircraft is gone. Most of their missiles are gone. We either shot them or they shot them and don't have them anymore. They're down to a trickle. Pretty much everything they have is gone. I don't know. Can you name one thing that's not gone, or can you name one thing that's doing well? You know, if you read the papers, you think we're tied. You think we're in a tough battle. We are roaming free over Tehran, the city, Tehran, as opposed to Iran. We're roaming free. We can do whatever we want. And as you know, today we were going to have the privilege of shooting down a very big electric generation plant, one of the biggest in the world.
Wow.
And one shot to the right location ends the plant, it collapses. And we held off based on the fact that we're negotiating. Yeah.
Was the turning point to make you want to pursue a ceasefire? A few days ago, you said you wanted to continue bombing Iran. Now you want to pursue peace talks. Was there something that happened?
The fact that they're talking to us and they're talking sense. And remember, it all starts with they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Just, I said yesterday, they said, what are the top 10? I said, well, number 1, 2, and 3 is they can't have a nuclear weapon. And they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and we're talking about that. And I don't want to say in advance, but they've agreed they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
How do you ensure they won't have?
That right there is phenomenal, but that's only the beginning steps, right? President Trump has already explained that America must be able to control part of that Strait of Hormuz. America wants to collect either toll fees there, wants to be able to be the one in charge of 20+% of the world's oil that gets shipped through there, right? Because there is a massive tug of war for power right now. And if the United States doesn't establish that level of control like they have in Venezuela, like they are about to in Cuba, and like they inevitably will in the Strait of Hormuz, then who are you really cheering for, right? Because there's a lot of superpowers at bay right now. And for me, for my kids, for future generations, I don't want them to have to be forced to learn Chinese or Russian or North Korean. I want them to be able to speak English in a Western country, in a Western dominated civilization. That's what I would like. What do you want?
Your former Border Patrol chief, Greg Bovino, said his only regret is that he didn't catch more illegal aliens. What's your reaction to that?
Who said that?
That's your former Border Patrol chief. He just retired.
Well, I mean, we captured a lot. You know, they were allowed into the country by Sleepy Joe and that group of incompetent people that were, he was the worst president ever, the group of incompetent people. To me, that's the biggest scar. You know, inflation, they caused the highest inflation we've ever had. We've already gotten rid of it. The biggest scar is what they did, the people that they allowed from prisons all over the world. They came from the Congo, from all over South America. Rough people. Really tough people. So, no, I understand what he means. He's, you know, he would have liked to have captured more. I'm not capturing so much as removing. You know, we're removing thousands of people. And many are self-deporting because we're going after them so powerfully that they're self-deporting, Tom, going back. I think that's one of the big unkept secrets. We have thousands and thousands of people, and they're self-deporting. They're going back to where they came from. But what we want really is the criminals. We're really focused on those criminals, getting them out. Yeah.
What's your message right now to Democrats and also to Americans that are stuck in airports? Is really devastating watching it online because Democrats won't fund DHS.
What's devastating?
Your message to Americans right now stuck in airports as we speak because Democrats won't
Well,
fund
they just
DHS.
don't, they won't. Look, this is a deal that was done in the great big beautiful deal, which gave you the biggest tax cuts ever.
And the left is insane.
Including no
for doing
tax
this
on
to
tips
airports.
and no tax on Social Security for the seniors. Think of it, no tax on overtime. Tax deductions when you buy a car, you take money, you pay interest on the money, you deduct it. We've never had that for people buying cars. If it's an American car, only if it's an American car. But they are just they stick together, the Democrats. I tell you, I give them great credit for that. We have some that they're not good stickers. We have guys like Tom Massey in Congress, who's terrible. He's just terrible person. I call him Rand Paul Jr. But they don't vote. Rand Paul, I mean, rarely votes for stuff.
They're radicalized. That's what they are. The left has become so radicalized, and they're actually torn apart, and they are melting down of what President Trump is doing right now. He's solving global issues. He's solving this, you know, on the brink of World War III. Iran isn't just going after America. It's going after other neighboring countries in the Middle East. And you have places like Saudi Arabia that are begging Trump, hey, please, Habibi, help us get rid of the regime in Iran. So, I mean, the Democrats are the only ones that are throwing a fit over this. Other countries are actually happy. Most of the world is happy with what Trump is doing in Iran.
Are you encouraging our allies in the Gulf to be more involved in the Iran operation?
Say it.
Are you encouraging our allies in the Gulf to be more involved in the Iran operation?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but more NATO. I think our Gulf allies have been pretty good, to be honest with you. UAE's been hit so hard. He got hit by 1,400 rockets, shot them all out of the air with our great Patriot missiles. Think of it, they shot 100 missiles at one of our aircraft carriers, the Abraham Lincoln, one of the biggest ships in the world, actually. And out of 101 missiles shot, every single one of them was knocked down in the sea. Think of that.
That's
Think
incredible.
what that means. 101 missiles, highly sophisticated, very fast missiles shot, Out of 101, all 101 were shot down, and now, for the most part, lie at the bottom of the sea. And pretty amazing, right? Pretty amazing. Our military is amazing, Pete. You know the attack I'm talking about recently? 101 shot. I said, wow. I saw that. You can see we have sort of pretty good equipment that we see. It's called the red line. Those red lines were thick, right? I said, that's a lot. And then we saw them one by one just get shot. And these guys that do the shooting, the coolest cucumbers ever. You know, most people, you don't have a lot of time. When a missile's going at 2,500 miles an hour, I don't care how far away it is, you don't have a lot of time. But I watched.
Some of my favorite moments when I was in the Canadian military was working with the Americans, because they always had the coolest gear, the coolest training, working down in Virginia with them. It was just awesome, man. I freaking love it. I am so pro-American imperialism. I love the American military. I love the American industrial complex. I love everything about it. It sucks that there are people that are casualties from this. Good people, right? That part obviously sucks. But when the American military is doing its thing, right? The warthogs are flying over. I freaking love it, man. The display of force, peace through strength, is a sentence that liberals cannot comprehend, because they are so tied up in this delusionary mindset that we can live in this utopia where all countries get along and there's no need for any borders and all that stuff. That kumbaya, hakuna matata, get the hell out of here. That's not how the real world works. It really isn't. How the real world works is, if you aren't the best, then you're last. And thank God that America is the best and will continue to be the best.
Well, Ron, can you give us any more sense of who exactly in Iran it is, either Witkoff and Kushner and others are speaking with?
Yeah, we had, I hate to say this in front of these young people. They're not children. I spoke to most of them. They sound like adults to me, even though they are sort of children, right? They'll always be your children. But I hate to say it, but we killed all their leadership. And then they met to choose new leaders, and we killed all of them. And now we have a new group, and we can easily do that, but let's see how they turn out. We have really regime change. You know, this is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very different than the ones that we started off with that created all those problems. So this was, I think we can say, Jason, this is regime change, right?
What makes you trust them?
I don't trust anybody. I don't trust you. I mean, that's only because I know you. But if I didn't know you, I'd probably have more trust. But I don't trust anyone. Why do you say that? Why do you say what makes you trust? Do you think I trust them? I don't trust them.
Then why bother talking to them?
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related. And it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people. Because, you know, you don't know, because the leadership was killed, all gone. Khomeini, all gone. As the expression goes, the past supreme leader. And then the new supreme leader was racked up, at a minimum racked up pretty good. And everyone else was gone. And then many of the people in the third tier are gone. But we're dealing with a group of people that I think turn out. And the present, the gift they made to us was very significant. And they said they were going to do it, and it happened. And they're the only ones that could have done it. Jennifer?
Wow.
Related to the Strait of Hormuz.
Holy smokes. Anyone know what this prize is? Oil and gas related? Was it they gave America a bunch of barrels of oil, gave America passage? It arrived today. So is it a physical gift? I mean, that's incredible. If President Trump can actually sustain these trade talks, this peace deal with Iran. I mean, this is going down in history as the biggest peace president that's ever existed. I mean, he is literally finding deals with everybody in the world. It's a pretty cool thing, if you ask me.
Losing the flow of.
Yeah, it was related to the flow and to the strait. Yeah, it was.
Are you negotiating on who's going to control the strait from now on?
No, we'll have control of anything we want. Look, if we can end this without more lives being down, without knocking out $10 billion electric plants that are brand new and the apple of their eye, I'd like to be able to do that, you know. But they can't have certain things. I mean, you know the things. I don't have to go over the list, but again, it starts with no nuclear weapons, and they've agreed to that. There won't be any nuclear weapons. They're not going to have, and they're not going to have enrichment, any of those things. But look, I hate to say that we're in a very good bargaining position, and I hate to say that they're defenseless because, you know, until that last missile is fired, they have little power. But we are in about the best bargaining position. We're way ahead of schedule. And again, they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no missile protection, and most of their missiles are gone. Most of their launches we've killed. You know, we've killed about 82% of their launchers. So even if they had a missile, they can't launch it. We've been very effective. We have the greatest military in the world. Nobody even comes close. We have the best military equipment in the world. Go ahead.
On Saudi Arabia, there's been some reports.
How can you not love this? I mean, say what you want about Trump, whether he's this, that, and the other, but the guy loves America. He loves Americans, and he freaking loves the American military and all the troops. I mean, what more can you ask for?
That you've been talking to the Crown Prince. Have you been focused on normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel?
Well, no, we have a great relationship with Saudi Arabia. What do you hear with Saudi Arabia?
Just hearing that you've been talking and that he has been encouraging you to do certain things related to Iran. Can you share?
Well, he's a warrior. He does. Yeah, he's a warrior. He's fighting with us, by the way. Saudi Arabia has been excellent, and UAE, excellent. And I will tell you, Qatar, incredible. Qatar took a hit. Pretty bad hit. Qatar's very close. You know, they're essentially, you can walk right over the border. Qatar took a hit. They've been great. They've been very strong. Kuwait, they had a little mishap. They shot down 3 planes with our missiles. They happened to be our planes, but the pilots made it. Can you imagine the pilots making it? The pilots saw what was coming. And they said, those are Patriots. We're not going to escape Patriots. And they got out of there pretty quick, Pete, right? Pretty amazing that they got out. The 3 pilots lived. They're fine. In fact, they're flying today.
Was the Kuwaitis that accidentally fired the missile?
Yeah, the Kuwaitis made a mistake. They fired. They thought they were firing at the enemy. It was, as the expression goes, friendly fire. But the pilots are great. They're flying today. Pretty amazing when you think of it. Yeah.
President Trump, on a human level, how hopeful are you that this peace deal will work out? Like as a human,
On what?
On a human level, not as the President of the United States. How hopeful are you that this peace deal will work out with Iran?
You're talking about to end it? Well, I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure. You know, I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big, powerful power plant, they can't do a thing about it. It's like, take me. That's all they can do. And yet, if you read the New York Times or if you watch ABC fake news or NBC fake news, you'd say it's a close battle. It's not a close battle. They're totally defeated. You know, we killed their Navy in, would you say 3 days, Pete? Gone. In fact, I was a little upset with Pete. I said, why didn't you save the ships? We could have used them, right? He said, it's more fun shooting them down. But the Navy was wiped out in a very rapid order. Pretty impressive for you guys, you champion wrestlers, right? When you hear this stuff. But you don't, if you read the news, you don't hear this. You know, you read like, oh, they're doing wonderfully. They're doing terribly. They're wiped out militarily. They are dead. Yeah.
On Ukraine, is there a new sense of a timeline? Do you want to get something done before the midterms?
Well, we'd like to see President Putin and President Zelensky sit down and make a deal. I think they're getting close, but I've been saying that for a while. I've settled 8 wars. All of them should have been more difficult than this one. This should have been the easiest one. But these are 2 people that truly hate each other. You'll find out that hatred is not good for making deals. These are people that they don't like each other very much. Yeah.
Wow. How can you not like this? I mean, this is super bullish for America. This is very bullish for Trump. And if everything does come together, which, again, to quote President Trump, no promises that it does, this is going to be phenomenal, not only for America, but for the world. That's the video, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys later on. Bye for now.